So tell me about that negotiation. How do you typically work in negotiating with buyers, and what's your strategy in that process?
I think I would need to start with the seller on that one, because that price point, originally that home was overpriced. That's why it wasn't selling. And it also has some deferred maintenance. So once we corrected some of that, like you mentioned, the upstairs, that needed to be neutralized. So you notice that it had a neutral paint color, it had neutral carpet, everything had been refreshened and updated. So that helped it a ton. And then we had to look at data. So I'm really a data-driven agent. So my background was in Title I as an educator. So what do you do in Title I? You generate data, you process data, and you make a plan based on data. So I took that knowledge, and then also in marketing, you do the same thing. So I took that and moved it into real estate. So what I would do is I run my data really tight, and I looked at all my solds, pendings, and actives. And then I set up what's called a cloud CMA for my client. And I explained to her, because it's so visual and the data is so clear, oftentimes the client can look at it and say, okay, I see why my house didn't sell. Because I'll simply ask, would you rather live in this home or your home based on these numbers?
Yeah.
And so she looked at it and she's like, you're right, it is overpriced. And so once we got to the point where we could price it correctly, then we were able to get on market, and then you came along.
Good.